Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video. Thanks for being here with me for another one. And by the way guys, it is a little windy out, so hopefully my mic is doing an excellent job of blocking out this wind. But hopefully we can have this conversation because, you know, today's going to be an interesting video. It has directly to do with finances, but more importantly, it's really all about mindset. Now, before we jump into things, guys, make sure you go ahead and give me a like for the video as it helps the channel grow. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications so that way you're notified when I upload new videos to the channel. And lastly, of course, share this with a family member or friend. And before I forget, of course, if you're interested in coaching sessions, links will be in the description below. So guys, I wanted to talk to you about a recent event that happened with me, and it was sort of solidifying what I thought was always a BS marketing, and it was just stuff that I saw on the internet all the time that I thought wasn't really important. But what I mean by this is, have you ever been online before and you hear these gurus and they always talk about, oh, it's a mindset shift. You need to believe that you can do what you want to do, and if you could believe it, then you're really going to do it, and so on and so forth, right? I hear that all the time, and for the longest, I thought that that was BS. I really did. I'm not going to lie to you. But recently, I just experienced something that changed my perspective on that narrative. So what am I referring to? Well, recently I was speaking with somebody I had just met, and I'm not going to say their name or anything along those lines because, of course, I respect everybody's privacy. But I met this person, and they were introduced to me by a colleague of mine. And it was interesting because I was at his house and he was telling me all kinds of stuff, and he immediately, for whatever reason, trusted me and said, hey, you know what? I really wish I can get ahead in life. I really wish I can, you know, make sure that my family and my kids and my wife are taken care of way beyond, you know, if something were to ever happen to me. And so then I started asking him some questions, and I said, okay, well, what does that look like? What does that even mean? I don't even know exactly what that means, because taking care of can mean, hey, you know, maybe the house is paid off, or hey, maybe you left them a small life insurance. I don't know what that means. And then he finally said, you know, I want to be able to make sure that my kids have everything that they need. My wife never has to work. You know, she's taken care of. And of course, you know, the house is paid off and we have a comfortable life. And I said, okay, well, that's not hard to do. I said, what does that number look like? Can you do it with $1 million? Can you do it with 2 million? What does that look like? And he said to me that he doesn't know. And I said, of course nobody knows. You always have to create a goal. That's the purpose of creating a goal, right? You write down what your expenses are going to be. You write down what you're looking to spend, how much money you need to generate every year in order to do that, and what are the ways you can generate that in order to hit that goal. So after I broke it down as simple as that, I started talking to him and trying to figure out what his situation was. He told me he was a retired military vet. He gets a disability, so he gets a couple of dollars. And the interesting thing about it is he has a lot of benefits through the military, and he doesn't necessarily need to take any risks per se. And by the way, if you guys are interested in a video on that, whew, that's a doozy. I can do one. Just let me know in the comments below, because I coach a lot of people who have disability in the military, and or should I say they were in the military, they're disabled now, but they get this money, and unfortunately they use that money as a crutch rather than actually leveraging it for further opportunities in the future. So anyways, he was telling me that he has this money coming in because he's a disabled veteran, and he makes a decent salary from a W-2 perspective as he works as a technician. It isn't much. I think the salary is somewhere around 40,000, somewhere around there. But it's decent enough when you combine the two together. Now, the interesting thing about that is he's mentioning that he doesn't necessarily know what to do with the money that he's making, because again, he has a lot of benefits, and the benefits take a lot of the risk out of life, meaning where are you going to live, where are you going to eat, right? Because he has a lot of help from the government, and which, again, I support that for all my military vets. I think it's something that we definitely need to take care of our vets, and I'm happy that he's getting all these benefits, to be quite honest. I do support my military folks. But besides all that, right, there was a question that he asked me, and he said that he came into some money. He's asking me what to do with the money because he is very interested in multiplying money. He just basically told me, oh, I want to make sure that I can make this money work for me instead of me having to work for money. I said, okay, that's a very easy thing to do. So before you give anybody any advice, you always have to figure out where they are, right? So I was asking a lot of probing questions, and that's how I got to all the information that I'm sharing with you guys. But I basically was asking questions to see where he's at and where he wants to go. And one of the very interesting things that I came up with is he still isn't even at the starting line. So now being at the starting line, what does that even mean? Well, he has a little bit of debt. He had a truck that he had to pay off, which wasn't a lot of money compared to what I've seen in other people's car payments. But anyways, he did have some car payments. He also had a little bit of credit card, so on and so forth. But he's asking me, hey, how do I invest this money in order to make sure that I can make this money multiply? And I started telling him what made me successful. I said, hey, I gotta get you to the starting line. First things first, get rid of your credit cards, get rid of your truck payment, and once you do that, I can tell you what to do from there. Doing those 2 steps will get you ready for the next thing and the next item that you need to tackle. Now, it's very, very interesting because once I told him that, I said, all right, go ahead and get started, and when you're ready, we'll talk about that next part. And it was really odd because he just kept repeating, well, what do I do with the money that I have in this lump sum in order to start multiplying it? And I said, dude, don't worry about that. Right now, what you need to do is just get to the starting line. And he's like, I hear you. I hear what you're saying, but I need to know what to do with this money. And he just kept repeating that over and over and over again. And in my mind, I'm like, dude, get in the mindset of, if you want to be somewhere where somebody is, just follow what they tell you and don't argue with them. And the weird thing about it was, it's almost like I was telling him something and he was just not believing me, or I don't know if he thought I was bullshitting him, because a lot of people, you know, when you get online, they tell you all this stuff on how to be successful in 30 days. And that's not what this is. Success takes a long time to cook and fully bake. Like, we're talking about, it took me about 10 years to make it to this spot right now. And when I say 10 years, I started in my early 20s. And so, yes, in my early 30s, we became very, very successful. But again, it was because I started in my early 20s. It was over a decade. And so I was telling him, I don't have any get-rich-quick schemes. I don't know how to be successful in 30, 60, 90 days. That to me is very impossible. And when I had leveled with him and told him, what you need to do is focus on, hey, how do we get you to the starting line? And this is what you need to do with the money for today. He was fighting me the whole entire time. And it was weird because, as I go back to what I was saying in the beginning of the video, it's a mindset. You gotta believe that you can do it, number one. But number two, if somebody is telling you something that is completely opposite of what you're hearing, then I would probably stop and just say, hey, you know what, that makes sense. Or why is he telling me that? Because normally, again, what you hear online and everywhere else is, hey, I got this get rich idea, you'll be wealthy in 6 months, maybe 30 days, whatever that number is. And then here comes this guy who has shown you, and by the way, when I say shown him, I showed him some of the success that we've had, and he has seen some of the accounts, not all, but he has seen some of it, and he was just like, holy smokes, how did you do that? And then I told him, I said, hey, look, this is what you need to do. And he's literally arguing with me because he's telling me, no, that's not telling me what to do with the money. And I'm like, I just told you what to do with the money. You need to get out of debt, get to the starting line, and then from there, I will tell you how to go from there. And he's saying, no, I need to invest this money. And it was just this back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, that finally, to be honest with you, I kind of just gave up. I said, hey, this person is not ready. And it's all about mindset. You know, how do you think? Not even just how you think, but do you believe what this person is telling you? You know, you have the whole world that has been telling you so many different things for so long, and here's somebody who's telling you the opposite, is showing you proof of how I got there and can show you receipts. I mean, in my mind, I would think, man, this is the person that I want to work with, and this is the person that has shown me all the receipts, so I believe in them. Let me go ahead and follow what they're saying. And even still, through all of that, I was still getting this opposition and this argumentative conversation where it's like, hey, you're not telling me what to do with the money. And I'm like, listen, dude, I told you what to do with the money. Follow this baby step program, which is honestly, you know, what I was telling him to do, because if you guys know my story, right, I follow the Dave Ramsey program and all that fun jazz. But it's a phenomenal program to get you to the starting line. Most people don't even get there, is kind of my point. And this person was not even there to start having other conversations of what you do with money, because there's levels to this. There's many different levels, and the baby step is the great program that I have seen thus far that will get you to that first step. So anyways, guys, I don't want to make this into a long video, because there's tons of them out there that talk about your mindset and what you need to do in order to make sure that you succeed. But having that conversation with that person, and I've seen this before in the past, right? I've seen a lot of people who don't have the mindset and they immediately give up and say, hey, this is not possible. But this is one of the first times I've ever seen somebody argue with me about whether if I am telling them the right thing or not. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, if you see that I'm jacked and you want my body and I'm telling you what to do, and you're fat and overweight, you know, let's just call it what it is, but then you're gonna argue with me about my plan, that to me is like, I don't know, like I'm scratching my head here. It just doesn't make sense to me. And again, if we bring it back to the money perspective or the finances, I'm wealthy. I showed you that I'm wealthy. You had an inkling of it. I'm telling you what to do in the sense of how I got here. And then you're gonna argue with me telling me that that's not correct. All right, whatever. Anyways, guys, let me know if you've experienced this before. I mean, I've experienced it. And again, I coach a lot of people, so I've seen this before, but not to the level that I was seeing from this guy. It got to the point where it was like, I almost felt bad for him, and he was, you know, wanting me to feel bad for him is sort of what it felt like. But the back and forth and the back and forth, I said, you know what? I don't have time for this. Like, I'm trying to help you, and if you don't want it, then so be it. Anyways, guys, I wanted to share that with you because, again, as I said in the beginning, it's all a mindset. If you think you can, you can. And if you think you can't, you absolutely can. And then also as well, too, when you see people that are successful and they're showing you how they got there, and it's really true, don't argue with them. They got there for a reason. It works. So anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'm curious to hear if you experienced anything like that. My advice is that try to find those who want to be helped. Don't spend your time trying to convince people, because that never works. But anyways, I'm gonna get inside. It's a little windy out today. Hopefully there's not a lot of noise in this video, because I definitely wanted to share this information with you guys. But again, if you appreciate my videos and they're helping you along the journey, go ahead and give me a like for the video, as it helps the channel grow. Subscribe to the channel and make sure you turn on your notifications. That way you're notified when I upload new videos like this one to the channel. And of course, share this with a family member or friend who needs to hear this message, because I guarantee you there's a lot of people that, you know, they'll argue with you about success and they don't have any, which is kind of weird. But anyways, guys, I'm gonna head off. And if you don't want to wait for my next video, YouTube thinks that you'll like this one popping up on screen. So go ahead and give that a watch, and I'll see you guys in the next one.